Welcome back to another Mayday Mayhem mystery. I am your host, Mayday Mayhem. And today we are still trying to figure out what happened to the 51 and plus missing women of Chicago. Now, last time we spoke about some of the victimology of some of the women who were allegedly classified as prostitutes, and as we broke down, were not. Some of these women were prominent people of the neighborhood, and some of these women, I do believe, were not a part of this serial killer that we spoke about in regards to Teresa Bunn and Hazel Lewis and Nancy Walker and Gwendolyn Williams. So now we're going to talk about some people that are classified as the actual serial killer. So we're going to actually get into that on this stream. Now, it was one man that they believed was one of the several serial killers in Chicago. And the reason I say one of the several, let me show you why. This is a a map of all the women that have been killed in between of 1999, 2000, all the way up to just about 2018. This map that you are looking at as of right now is the west and south side of Chicago, where you see all, I don't know how to zoom it. Can I zoom it? No, I can't. All of the women were found dead and murdered in these surrounding areas. Please take a look at Thomas Hartgrove's interactive map, where he gives a more detail and more precise of these women and where they were found, how they were found, strangled. All these women were either strangled in some form or fashion. But do you see the pattern of all these women? Some of these women were literally right next door with each other, found dead. But do you see the pattern? That's why they're saying that there is a serial killer in Chicago, and the serial killer has been lurking around Chicago for the past 20 years. Now, of course, you know, they've had many suspects. We've talked about the suspect in the murder of Gwendolyn Williams and why he cannot be extradited back to Illinois from Florida. We spoke about the murder of Nancy Walker. We spoke about the murder of Teresa Bunn, and how also Teresa Bunn was 8 months pregnant. She was one of the two that was found burning near a garbage can and strangled to death. But the only difference in Teresa Bunn's case, she was 8 months pregnant. So that's why it's believed that her murder was not contributed to a serial killer, but to someone that was close to her, being that she was actually 8 months pregnant. You know, that reminds me of the Ray Caruth case when you know, he killed Shanika Wright, his baby mama, had her assassinated, and he was the whole baby daddy because he didn't want to pay child support, and she was very much pregnant. So he lured her out of the house, and he had a hitman pretty much try to kill her, which she survived long enough to give birth to her son, but she did pass. But that goes to show you the extent that some men will go to stop a pregnancy. We still here in Chicago have the case of the missing postal worker. She has been missing, this is what, 2 years? She's been missing 2 years, and she went missing out of the south side of Chicago. And yet again, by her being a postal worker, the postmaster has her case. So that means that's a federal case, but nothing has been done. And we can't even say a serial killer could have gotten to her because her nor her remains has been found. But she was pregnant. See, and of course, you know, you always look to spouses and things of that nature with a lot of crimes when it comes to especially pregnancy and secluded areas and even shootings. You know, you might want to look at the spouse or the baby daddy or the potential baby daddy, because that could be the person that could be responsible for this person's death. But in the case of the Chicago Strangler, he's been busy. Well, they have been busy for 20 years because, like I said, you looked at the victimology. That's a lot of clusters on the, if you look at the upper, with this upper cluster in the upper top part, that's the west side. And the south and the little cluster that's going lower down your screen towards where the words is, that's the south side. So as you can see, it's a lot of clusters that's up in here, and you see some that's spread out. That's like Sheridan. Another one is like Oak Park, Oak Lawn. But this most close cluster is on the west side, and these other clusters are on the south side. And the clusters are mainly in areas where you would have a high rate of prostitution, where you would have a high rate of drugs. But just because there's a high rate doesn't mean that everyone in that area participates in that risque lifestyle or participates in those risky drugs. Because let's not get it confused. Anyone here, you know, that knows the 290 is called the Heroin Highway. Why? Because along that highway, you can get off at either stop and you can get all types of drugs all up and down that 290. And a lot of times you do have overdoses of fentanyl and overdoses of certain drugs or heroin that they have gotten a hold of, and it's bad. And yes, and you've had a cluster of people die from drug overdoses in that stance. But all these women strangled, and to say that it was prostitution, no. That's why it brings me to this guy right here. Now, you may not know whom he is, but I'm going to tell you who he is. His name is Darren Dion Van. And if you don't know who this handsome devil is, he is actually the Gary, Indiana Strangler. And he is one of America's serial killers. You can look him up. He is Darren Dion Van. He was arrested on October 18th, 2014 for the murder of 19-year-old Africa Hardy at a Motel 6 in Hammond, Indiana. And he has confessed to the murders of 6 other female victims in Indiana. He led police to those women's bodies, which all were 5 abandoned structures in Gary. They were found in 5 abandoned structures. So we've noticed a lot of things with the victimology of these women, that they were found in abandoned buildings. Okay. So looking at his case kind of gives an insight on what the police should or would be looking for. And I still have some synopsises on who one of these serial killers may perhaps be in Chicago. Now, a lot of people are wondering, well, why are we talking about him? You know, why? because he has confessed to murders in Chicago. And he says he has confessed to murders in Texas. Um, he's confessed to a killing spree um, over America. And he said he has more bodies in Indiana than he does in Illinois, because Illinois is where he keeps his guns. So that tells me two things. He also killed women in Illinois, and he also used a gun. So they might want to look at a lot of unsolved murders with guns and, of course, strangulations. He was asked, well, how did you choose these women? Why? Some of them were random. Majority of them were random. Some of them were women that he didn't know, but majority of them were random women because he had an anger problem. And it was kind of a release for him to kill these women. They asked him, well, where did you travel to? And his thing was, I didn't travel anywhere. He killed where he lived. He killed in his neighborhood. He killed where he laid his head. You know, of course he would. He wouldn't. Why would he go somewhere where he would be sticking out like a sore thumb? Just like in this situation where we have these Chicago missing women that have been found dead, you know, it's someone that lives in that area, someone that these women trust and that they see on a regular basis. He spoke about one of his murder victims that was an actual friend of his. He knew her from around the block. And, you know, the reason he killed her was because she got a little jazzy with him and allegedly she owed him money. So he killed her. Now, he has, in his confession, he has said that he has killed women in Texas. He has killed women in Chicago. You know, so that looks back at this group of women that we have that have been killed in Chicago, that we don't know who killed these women. Could Darian really be the murderer of some of these women? I would say absolutely. Yes. Yes. But do I think he killed more than maybe 5 here? No. No, I don't think so. Why do I say that? Because him himself even said he killed where he lived. If he wasn't able to get a ride to Chicago, if he wasn't able to drive to Chicago, or that way where he kept his guns, then no, he would kill in his area, but he tried to stay far away from family members. You know, in his confession, he's even said that he has possibly harmed a family member. So he's given the confessions. He's letting everyone know that, yes, he's killed these women. And not only do I think he's doing it to let them know, but he wants the glory of it, because he says he's been doing it for over 20 years. And that can be accurate. And you might say, well, he probably was weird or not. No, he had girlfriends. He was even married to a woman. But that wedding was a bit strange. That nuptial, because she was actually 30 years his senior when he married her. And they were married for about 16 years, give or take. And she got a divorce from him, because I guess he got caught with one of his little trick holes out there, and she divorced him. But her son even speaks on him being weird. You know, her son speaks on him talking to himself. So it could be some underlying mental health issues there. You know, we don't know. We don't know. But He is a confessed serial killer. And he was, now the kicker with this is, do I believe he did do killing here? Yes, I do. Do I believe he did the majority of all this killing? No, I don't. Why? Because the killing continued once he was gone. And he did not stay in Chicago for long periods of time. He stayed in Indiana. He stayed in Texas. And while some of these murders were happening, he was in Texas. While some of these murders were happening, he was in another part of Indiana. And he's even confessed it himself to saying that, no, I didn't, let me see. He said, no, one body that they tried to put on him, he said, no, that's not one of mine. You know, that's somebody else's body. I didn't kill that girl, you know. But he has 7 convictions, but his death kill is up to possible 18. But he says he's done way more killing in Indiana than any other state. And yet again, he hid his bodies in where? Abandoned buildings. He hid his bodies in places where they wouldn't be seen, and it's to the point where he actually had to take the police to them. He actually had to take the police to some of them. So that's just one serial killer. Now, he said one of those bodies is not even his. And he killed most of his women by strangulation. The last woman that he killed, like I said, was Africa. She was in a motel room in Hammond, and the way she was caught with that one was, she was a prostitute, and usually they have others that look out for them, and she didn't answer her phone the correct way that she usually would answer it. She didn't answer the text the correct way. And the friend got scared, and asked for another man to come with them and open the door, and they found her dead in the hotel room with something around her neck. So that's pretty much how he got caught. They traced her phone back, and it came right on back to him, and that's how they pretty much caught him. So that was just one. And it's crazy because he had so many times where he could have been arrested and locked up, but due to our good old legal system, he was not apprehended. So that goes back to what we have here. These unsolved women, murders, missing women. Now, see, and you wonder why I'm saying Chicago missing women when we have seen that these women are deceased. But the reason I say missing is because there are so many women out there that has been pushed to the side as missing, and they could be one of these serial killers particular victims, and they just not have been found yet. When you going into the lower class and the what you would say hood part of the inner city where there's not most jobs, there's abandoned buildings everywhere. And I've said multiple times that if you take those abandoned buildings and you actually rehab them, you can actually get the homeless off the street. And these buildings would not be abandoned. They would not be occupied. And therefore, there will be no area for these men to kill these women and sodomize and rape and kill them, because there would be no abandoned buildings. A lot of these women were found in abandoned buildings, vacant lots. In Chicago, we have an astounding number of vacant lots where homes used to stand or businesses used to stand, and they were torn down and they just were never rebuilt. So That's another problem. Then you have vacant apartment buildings and vacant stores that are no longer occupied, and the city refuses to rehab or tear down, so they become houses to where addicts go to do their particular drugs, or where a place where prostitutes will turn tricks, or a place where a murderer will leave his victim. And if you want to stop that from happening, the abandoned buildings and vacant lots are going to have to go. They're going to have to go. Number two, a thing that goes on in Chicago is the sense of not speaking to the police. And why is that? Because this reason why here. Chicago has one of the highest rates of unsolved crimes in one of any of bigger metropolitan area in the country. Like over 70% of our crimes are unsolved. And it's astounding to me. And some of these women that were found deceased and dead, yes, actually were prostitutes and did live a risque life, but that doesn't mean that their lives was not more valuable or more precious than anyone else's lives. Their lives did not deserve to be taken in the malice and disrespectful way it was taken. All these victims had no reason to lose their life, and there's even more victims out there that have not been seen or found. Now, whomever this is, they have been hiding women in snowbanks. You know, it's getting wintertime now here in Chicago. You know, as snow falls, we have specific areas where snow is pushed. Could this be a person that was just like Dennis Rader, which was into the forest preserve type shit, where they know, you know, this is someone that can go relatively easy throughout the city, throughout the neighboring alleys and suburbs and not be seen? You know, who is this? You know, is this whomever this is? They have to be attractive or don't give off vibes, just like him. He actually knew one of his victims. He says he knew her and she was a good chick, but she said something that threw him off and she owed him money and it made him angry and he killed her. He strangled her and killed her. Now, some women might say, "Ooh, girl, he fine. Ooh, girl, he can take me home anytime." And I'm like, "Ooh, girl, don't your spidey senses like tingle on you? Everything that shine ain't gold, baby. Everything that glitter ain't good for you. I'm here to tell you." But you look at him, he is not a bad looking guy, especially he's probably cleaned up. He has his swag and shit on. He's probably not a bad looking guy. He's not to some women. To me, no thank you. You know, but you have to understand, he was inside of that risque lifestyle where he hung around women like this. One of the women that he killed was actually a prostitute. She really was a prostitute. And he said that she didn't deserve that, but it was a moment kill. And he gives insight on whom this killer may be in Chicago. He has to give insight on it because they even asked him, well, why? He said some of these women were random. He went into an anger. This was to feed his anger. So he killed these women. He killed them. So is this what's going on here when we have all these women in this area that have been strangled on the west and south side, and you see these dots is right on top of each other? That is no coincidence. This is an area where someone is able to hide in plain sight. That's why it came up that it possibly could be, it is several serial killers out here. And actually one of them could be white. and maybe 2 or more could be Black. And I can say that because majority of these killings are in African American neighborhoods, Black neighborhoods. These are neighborhoods where, if, like, I'm Black, as y'all can see on that screen, I am a beautiful Black woman, Mayday Mayhem. Oops, you didn't know. I would stick out like a sore thumb walking around in the all white neighborhood where no one knows me and no one has ever seen me before. I would stick out like a sore thumb. Versus if I go to the west side where I'm home to, or the south side where I'm home to, I could walk through there and no one would pay me any attention. No one would even know I was there. No one would even know I was anywhere around. Why? Because I blend right in with them. So whoever this is someone that's blending right in with them. This is someone that can easily go in and out of buildings, because some of these women were found in broad daylight. Okay? This is someone that can go and move around and no one will notice that they, were there. That makes me think of a serviceman, possibly someone that works in law enforcement that can, and I only say that because this is someone that can go around and about and no one asks questions and no one looks at them. That's someone that kind of blends into the neighborhood. If it's your neighborhood police officer or your neighborhood, your local forest preserve operator, that's someone that kind of blends in, that you wouldn't. Who is somebody that you wouldn't find it weird them walking through an alley late at night? I wouldn't find it weird as a police officer is walking through the alley late at night. Why? He probably looking for some drugs, that he done ran through some shit. He didn't chase some motherfucking body, or somebody didn't chase him. He didn't drop something. They didn't drop something. He's looking for something. You wouldn't think twice of seeing a police officer walking through the alley. You wouldn't think twice. You wouldn't think twice seeing a garbage man going through the alleys or pushing a snowplow. That would not be out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be. It would not be out of the ordinary to see someone that lives in your neighborhood walk around at different times of the day and night. That would not be out of the ordinary. So whoever this is that is killing these women, they live in this area. They live here. And that little short period of time that there were no killings, from between 2014 and 2017, he either moved or he was in jail. Now, could one person do all these murders? Absolutely. You have multiple murder killers like John Wayne Gacy, Kemper, the smiley face killer. You have, like I said, BTK killer, Dennis Rader. You have some victims that go up into the hundreds. H.H. Holmes, his victim range go up into probably the thousands. So is it out of the ordinary for one person to do all these killings? No, but in this victimology, you can clearly see that it's more than one serial killer in this area. And they are preying on areas where women are forgotten. Women that are my color are forgotten. Women that speak a foreign tongue are forgotten. We're not looked at as successful parts of society. So with that being said, we don't get treated as such. And there's no broadcasting going out about the alarming rate of missing women in Chicago, missing children in Chicago, not only in Chicago, but across the states and all metropolitan areas. There are missing children, missing women, missing men that, have never been found, never been heard of. And you don't hear a thing about this on the news You might hear a blurb here, a blurb there, and that's it. And they'll chalk it up to gang violence, or, oh, they ran away with someone they knew, or maybe they just ran away, to actually maybe looking at this person and saying like, hey, no, something is wrong. This is out of this person's character. They do not do this. You need to look at them, versus saying, oh, well, they probably just took a trip. No, motherfucker, they didn't take a trip. I'm telling you now. Mayday Mayhem ain't took a trip without no motherfucking body knowing. You don't understand. Everybody knows when I go to the corner store. You understand? Everybody knows when I go to Dunkin' Donuts. And Dunkin' Donuts, you can see it from my house. You understand? Everybody know where I'm going. So if I walk out the door and I don't come back and they saying she didn't say where she went, you know something is wrong. You know something is wrong. Call in the hounds, call in the dogs, call them in, call everybody you know, call your neighbors, call my neighbors, call my enemy's neighbors, call somebody, because something has happened. I'm serious. Have to stop chalking it up to, oh, they're black, oh, they're Hispanic. They went away on their own. Maybe they ran away with their boyfriends, or maybe they just went away for the weekend. Instead of chalking it up to, no, this is seriously something has happened to these people, and something is continually happening to these people. That's why I also brought up the idea, could it be an officer? Let's not forget, we had a thing in New York a couple of years ago where a police officer was actually raping prostitutes. And the reason he was getting away with it, because the prostitutes were scared to report it, because no one is going to listen to a prostitute. See what I'm saying? You see how you won't listen to them, but you belittle them and downrate them because this is the only thing that they can do, and this is the only thing that some of them know how to do, and this is the only thing some of them was trained to do. Like I said, the housing is expensive here in Chicago. There are so many abandoned buildings. You have drugs that have overcome our neighborhoods. That is not only to our own demise, but that's another day that we would talk about that. If you check out my podcast on how drugs were introduced into all neighborhoods, we can get it cracking on that. But maybe I'll just save that for another stream in here. But far as these missing women, this is definitely someone that lives in that neighborhood, that frequents that neighborhood, that they know that neighborhood very well. They stay there. And the women that they are killing actually know them or could know them. This is not just one person. This is a multitude of serial killers out here killing women and snatching children. Now, see, the thing that I showed you, this was only from 2018. It hasn't been updated from 18, 19, 20, and 21. There have been several other murders since then, women found in abandoned buildings. They just don't broadcast it, but it happens every day. And they chalk it up to, oh, drugs. Well, I don't think a drug is going to make me strangle myself, or the drug going to come out my body, wrap around my neck and kill me. No, that's what drugs don't do that. I'm sorry, drugs don't do that. So, I'm going to stay on this case. We're going to keep going. As I get more information on it, of course, I'm going to keep up with it. And we're going to keep going to figure out who this is, because you can't go every day and thinking that your ass ain't going to get caught. You out there. Somebody, you know who you are, and if somebody else know who you are, you're going to slip up. Or you might have a change of heart and actually have a conscience and come clean. Or you might land yourself in dead somewhere, or in jail. But what you're doing is going to come out, and these women, are not going to be just forgotten women because of their color and where they reside and the region they reside in. No, their justice will come. Like my mother always say, karma is a bitch. It may not come how you dished it, but it's going to come back around, and who you are, this killer is, he will be caught. And it may be something so damn so insignificant that's going to get him caught up. So I'm going to end this stream the way I end all my streaming. If no one told you they love you, I do. I truly, truly do. And make sure you do better today than you did yesterday, and strive for a better tomorrow today. And be safe out here. Don't be trusting. I don't even if you know them, don't trust them. And I'm saying that with the most genuinest thing. I want everyone to be safe. I want all these women to be safe. I understand that you do what you got to do, but I just want you to be safe out here. And just watch yourself. If someone gives you that eerie feeling, don't get in the car with them. Even if they're a friend and they starting to freak you out or creep you out a little bit, don't anger them or nothing like that. You don't know what the fuck they're capable of. I'm just saying. So everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Happy New Year again. We will be back with another Mayday Mayhem mystery, and we'll be discussing other different crime cases and other different crimes to see what happened. What was it about? Was it really necessary? And we will be discussing different conspiracy theories. So please stay tuned. Please like, subscribe. Make sure you get them thumbs up. That keeps me going in the algorithm, so you can see more of my streaming. So again, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay humble, and stay yourself, and be self-aware and be careful out there. Until next time, everyone, stay safe.